Hey everyone, welcome to our channel Deface Games. In this video, we will be diving into the world of puzzle games on PC and sharing our top picks to play in 2023. From mind-bending strategy games to casual brain teasers, we've got you covered, so if you're ready to put your puzzle-solving skills to the test, let's get started. On number 10 we have Mini Motorways. The idea of this game is to plan the road system of a city, getting people from their houses to where they need to be and back again, as efficiently as possible. The cities grow as the game goes on, so your roadways get more complicated, and you can put in things like roundabouts, motorways and traffic lights to keep things organized, but you have a limited number of these, as well as limited road tiles. Houses, the population centers and workplaces are all color-coded to distinguish them from each other, like a yellow workplace might appear next to blue homes, while the yellow population density is mostly on the other side of the river to make things complicated. Overall, it is a continuous puzzle. It means that only gets harder the better you are at it. On number 9 we have Unavowed. In this game, you join a group of supernatural cops who solve supernatural crimes in lush pixel art city. Crimes like an escaped muse going out of control, a baby has been kidnapped by fairies, and more magical stuff. You can pick one of three origins: a cop, an actor, or a barkeep. It affects the characters you already know in the game, and how you can take on missions. Your fellow agents are also interesting, like the medium can see and talk to any ghosts around the place, the fire mage can set monsters on fire, and ex-cop can shoot the hostile enemies. You pick two of them to accompany you and it will affect the outcome of the tasks. There are many layers of cleverness and complexity to experience in this one. On number 8 we have Dorfromantik. It is a lovely game. You can get all serious and try and beat your high score, but if you want, you can just have a lovely time building a pretty town. Basically, it is a puzzle game where you place tiles to build a serene rural landscape. You're given a stack of procedurally generated hexagonal tiles, each with one or a few different kinds of landscape on them, maybe a load of houses that could form a village or town, a bit of forest bordered by fields, or section of lake. You can also play to complete quests like the windmill wanting to be bordered entirely by fields, or a forest being large enough to accommodate deers, and much more. It's the right level of chill-out casual game while still requiring some active thought. On number 7 we have Return to Monkey Island. Set in an unknown period after the events of The Curse of Monkey Island, this title brings back the protagonist named Guybrush and actually find the secret of Monkey Island this time, which he tried to do in the first game but was distracted by his love affair. This is a robust point-and-click puzzle game that uses cartoony logic in its myriad puzzles. It has plenty of locations, characters, and even jokes from the old game, but adds a new spin to most of them. Also, there's a lot that's new, and the quality of life changes, which include getting rid of the old menu style and a very reactive hint system, making this a fantastic game for not just old fans, but also to lure players who are a bit worried about point-and-click adventure games. On number 6 we have Opus Magnum. In this title, you build automated machines whose repetitive movements will construct potions and poisons, whichever piques your interest as an alchemist. There are programmable arms, tracks, pistons, and other strange mechanisms that can take instructions from you. You can make arms pivot, pistons retract, control other aspects of theirs. It can be overwhelming to manage the timings and start, and how each of these elements move in concert with each other, but there's a lot of flexibility here. If your machine works, it works. You can focus on making an elegant machine, but it still counts if you bodge together a weird monstrosity. There's Steam Workshop integration too, so you can try challenges created by players all over the world. On number 5 we have the Talos Principle. It blends the old ancient ruins of different civilizations with the new high-tech stuff. The main hazards on your puzzling progress are force fields, floating robotic explosives, and automatic mounted Gatling guns. It can be puzzling to get your timings right and figuring out the logic of what will happen if you drop a certain barriers at a certain time. These are good puzzles, but the highlight of Talos Principle is the story around that, which we won't spoil. You're solving these puzzles because you were told to obey a voice which announces that it's your creator. Whether you do or not is up to you, which leads you to multiple endings. Note that the story does not end in this chapter, as studio is already working on a sequel. On number 4 we have Ctrl Alt Ego. It is one of those hacking games which is more straightforwardly a puzzle game. You're a sort of AI presence without a body, able to hack into different machines, for example, cameras on databanks, allowing you to scope things out, but also little robots to move around, or even tiny ones that can sneak into tunnels. The aim is getting from one level to the next, but there are plenty of obstacles in your way. Apart from physical obstacles like boxes and barriers, there are enemy robots who can tell if your droids are going where they should not, and data units that can shoot lasers. Clever thinking is encouraged and indeed essential, and if you die it's fine, cause you just go back to being disembodied and can have another go at it. On number 3 we have The Looker. This free-to-play game features an island with a giant chess set, hedge mazes, a weird castle, an arcade dungeon, and also a kind of lookout. Scattered around these are a selection of puzzle boards, which are solved by drawing lines from a start to an end using a red pen. The letters S and E both also count as same, and in some puzzles there's no end, so you have to listen to the narrator as he beeps while you draw your line. The puzzles are all logical within the established rules, but require thinking outside the box. The laser beam boxes can take an absurdly long time to power up, with so many steps involved. In other puzzle you can find little recording boxes around the place, and some of those contain ads for used cars. On number 2 we have Return of the Obra Dinn. It is a large monochromatic game where the Obra Dinn name of ship which went missing, and now it has reappeared with every person on board killed. Your job is a kind of magical detective armed with a watch activated by death, which will show you the still life moment of a person's death. The challenge is to match up each body with the ship's manifest and a cause of death. Your choices are only revealed as correct once you've got 3 completely right at once. It's masterfully done. As things progress you notice some decidedly suspicious death options, including crushing and dismemberment. Encountering these deaths out of order, you eventually manage to put the whole story together while listening to the banging soundtrack. Before number 1, we have 2 honorable mentions. First is Inside from the makers of Limbo. It is a creepy side-scrolling puzzle platformer with a vulnerable protagonist set in dark theme. The protagonist is a young boy who you join in the middle of being chased through a forest. The journey progresses through decreasingly rural areas, then through a weird science facility full of what appear to be mind-controlled humans and various other experiments. It takes both its ambient storytelling and how it plays to new heights. Also, the ending is weirdly surprising. Second honorable mention is The Room 4: Old Sins. The latest chapter in Room series, which lures you to an isolated area full of complex puzzles that you have to solve. This time you're confronted with a detailed dollhouse of a mansion, which turns out to be a model of the mansion you're in. The model is itself partly a puzzle box that open up as you interact with it, but it also a kind of magic portal to full-sized versions of said rooms. Old Sins is the most complicated but most satisfying of all the Room games yet. Finally, on number 1 we have Outer Wilds. It is a unique puzzle game that meets space exploration. You wake up as the newest member of a cosmonaut's team, about to take his flight away from your little home planet. It genuinely is tiny planet, as it would take you about 4 minutes to walk around it, but there is a twist. The sun in the center blasts into supernova 22 minutes after you start the game, but there is a magic statue in your town's museum that gets you stuck in a time loop, resetting the moment you die to start the day all over again. So, using this ability, you can explore different planets orbiting the sun to within the limits of your oxygen meter, which is refilled either by trees or by returning to your ship. Overall, it's a mesmerizing loop experience. And there you have it, our top picks for the best puzzle games on PC in 2023. We hope you enjoyed this video and found some new games to add to your list. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming content like this. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.